In this video, I want to talk about dry fire training and one of the biggest principles that I think new shooters need to work on. So, this is what they need to work on. Proper sight picture. Okay, here's the thing. A lot of new shooters are not really going to understand the fact that when you take a pistol and you're trying to shoot, it's not like Hollywood where your sights can be roughly in an area and you don't really need to pay attention to it. You can just get at something and, hit it because Hollywood makes it happen. So here's the thing. This is a 229. This is a good example. I have painted in the front sight for speed with some nail polish, but this right here I'll try to stabilize a little bit. That right there is perfect sight alignment, and this is a perfect sight picture. So as you if you need to go back, go ahead and go back, but basically what you saw there was my sights were perfectly aligned. They were aligned all the way across the top. This middle part, this front sight was not up or down. It was perfectly aligned all the way across the top. And these things are manufactured to where that's what's required to get absolute precision on target. So we're going to insert some caveats here, but I'm going to wait until the end. If you're a new shooter, you need to be very precise on how you align that. If you saw there, I did the best I could to get equal amounts of air on both sides of the front sight. Now, since I did it on camera, it kind of gives you a little bit of an illusion that the front sight is skinnier than it really is. But here's the thing. If you have skinnier front sight, typically you can get more precision out of it. Like Walther sights, they typically have a skinny front sight and there's a lot of air on both sides. That's a good thing for speed, but also a very good thing for accuracy. A lot of people don't like that. But if you're a good shooter and you understand those principles and you just have those eyes that are able to click and see things immediately, you're going to be able to snap on the target, get good speed, and be able to get a perfect hit if you're able to pull the trigger without moving the gun, which is going to be a different video. So, anyways, I have a little mark here. This is typically at 25 yards where your round is going to impact. And exactly relative to your perfectly aligned sights. So if you have a good sight picture, this is exactly where it's going to hit on the target. Now, this isn't perfectly rounded. It's not going to hit like right inside where this sight is. Think of this as kind of being a little round. So here you have my nice little thumb right here. So obviously this part is round. This is like a bullet. So it's going to go like this. So half on the front sight, half on the half in the air, I guess you could say. So basically it's touching right where the middle of that hole is going to go at around 15 to 25 yards. So the first thing for you new shooters, before you try to judge the accuracy or whether your sights are on, you need to practice being able to dry fire or just snap into getting or holding a perfect sight picture. With a firearm like this, something that is classified as pretty heavy, if you just hold your sights on this target for a while and stare at those sights and reconfirm that you got equal air on both sides and that it's perfectly horizontally aligned and everything, if you can focus on that, bring it down and then bring it back up again and get that perfect and just spend that time getting a good sight picture, getting a good center mass hit, even on like a square target like this. These are just post-it notes. You can even work with these little thumbtacks, and I just stuck myself, really? Wow. But anyways, getting a little excited here. No caffeine too. I just love these discussions. A little thumbtack. Post that 5 yards away, 3 yards away, whatever distance you want to work on, try to hold your sights on that target with perfectly aligned sights. The center of your front sight is going to be where it hits. Now, okay, this is where we're going to start getting caveats. So I've discussed everything else of what a good sight picture is going to look like for a good hit. Now comes the part where some people are going to roll their eyes and be like, why did you even discuss this stuff earlier? Depending on your range, most firearms out there are going to have enough of a sight to bore offset to where you're not going to be actually hitting right at this tip right here. You're actually going to be hitting about here, wherever your sights are aligned, especially at close range, between basically having your gun right up to it right here to basically being about 5 yards. But between 5 and 10 yards, you are going to be so close to the tip of the front sight as far as impact relative to your point of aim, basically your sight picture. So your impact relative to where your sight picture and where you're expecting to hit, that's going to be so close you're not really going to notice much of a difference in my experience. So here's the thing. Look at the difference here from the tip top of the front sight to the middle of the bore. That is enough to where if you're shooting at something on an IPSC target, if you don't know what that is, just look it up, IPSC. So it'll look like this. So this would be the size of like an index card or something. So realistically, you're going to basically, this target right here would be about the size of this C zone. So this little A is about the size of this C. It can be pretty small. If you want to get good accuracy at 3 to 5 yards, which is something you want to practice, understanding that offset to get good precision and good familiarity with how to place your shots where you want, you're going to have to basically, your sight picture is going to have to look like this to hit the center of this C area right here. You're going to have to make it look something like this, where you're covering up the C and it's perfectly centered. It'll hit here in the middle of where the A is, or yeah, right here. So that's basically where you're going to have to hit, and you can see that it's basically halfway down. So basically covering it up and aligning it with the tip top of the target. So one of the things I like to do is just practice snapping my sights into wherever I'm wanting to hit and holding it on there, and even dry firing it, obviously. But if you're going to dry fire, you need to have a snap cap in there. It's going to save your firing pin, and also it's good for loading. You want to practice a lot, and you want to practice a lot without screwing up your gun. So I've broken a lot of firing pins from dry firing them in the true sense, where you have nothing in the chamber, not even a snap cap. That can be a big money drain for some companies. They will not repair your firearm or warranty your firearm if you break a firing pin from basically dry firing it. And there's a lot that actually say don't dry fire it. So use a snap cap, like the A-Zooms have a rubber buffer in them. So anyways, my recommendation is you start practicing snapping in to a perfect sight picture. Equal air on both sides, completely flush, attention to detail all the way. You practice that enough and you're going to have no problem being able to hit where you're pointing. Get that to be natural, and then you can work on trigger control, which is going to be another video. So anyways, go ahead and let me know what you think in the comments below. Some ideas you might have for working on this if you're pretty experienced. But again, don't think that you're going to be able to go to the range and decide if your pistol is hitting right on or whatever if you don't even understand the basic principles of a good sight picture, or the ability to actually maintain that sight picture in good accuracy. Also, this piece of paper right here is a G-Sight target that you get from G-Sight when you order one of their laser targets, which is basically a bullet that is a laser pointer. So it strikes, it has a polymer backing on it. So every time your firing pin hits it, it emits a laser, and it, for the most part, because of the rubber O-rings on it, it'll show exactly where your round is typically going to hit, and it's perfectly aligned. It does a very good job of showing you where it's going to hit, and that can give you a great idea of how you are shooting and where you might have a point of impact relative to your sight picture at different ranges. But you cannot have that as a final conclusion until you go out to the range and you're able to apply terrific precision on your sight picture and then see where your gun groups. But it can also depend on the ammunition you're firing. So that's going down a bit of a rabbit hole. Plenty of forums. Get some training, and you can typically go over this in your training courses. They'll explain it in a lot better detail. Get professional training, and this could get ironed out. It might take a while, but you'll get all the answers you need. So anyways, leave a comment below, like this video, and subscribe. And stick around for another video, this time on trigger control with your good sight picture.